Hello and welcome to HBM's Crypto-Corner for Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. Yes, it is December already, folks. Year is flying by. We have a couple of things to talk about, so let's get started. A man captures a terrifying half-man, half-dog creature on camera that he says stalked him. John was fishing in his kayak when he claims to have been stalked by a dog man in the Australian bush. He took pictures of the supposed creature and hopes to keep people safe by sharing them. A man has claimed that he was petrified for a month after supposedly being stalked by a dogman creature in the Australian outback. Reports of a half-man, half-human, half-dog monster first originated in 1887 in the U.S. state of Michigan, but fast forward to the present day, and there have been multiple so-called witnesses across the world. One of those witnesses is John, who was fishing in the Australian bush when he claims he encountered the spooky creature stalking him from the riverbank. Sharing his story on the Believe Paranormal and UFO podcast, the Aussie explained that he had been headed out for a fishing trip in his kayak on Boxing Day last year when he suddenly heard a snap from the woods next to him. I noticed that every time I took a stroke with the paddle of my kayak, whenever this thing was, it was taking a stride to each paddle I was taking. Now, is this supposed to be what he photographed? Is this the alleged dog man? That's curious. That's a curious thing. That's what I'm wondering. Is this the alleged dog man? I stopped for a bit and the sound stopped in the bush too, and I thought that was a bit odd. So I took off paddling again, and sure enough, as soon as I started to paddle every stroke, this thing would take a step. So whatever it was, this thing was following me. It wasn't a coincidence or anything. It was more of a stalk. Eventually, noticing something black in the trees, John captured a photo on his phone seen above and was shocked at what he saw. The creature I actually got into the photo, and what I think it is, I've spoken to a few people, and I reckon it's a dog man, he suggested. After that, I couldn't go back to the area to check it out for myself. I was petrified for probably a month after it. I was waking up in the middle of the night and seeing the creature in my dreams. Okay, yes, this is the supposed dog man. Could it be? Good question. Events only ramped up when John returned to the area on a future fishing trip. Settling into a new oasis, he remembered, off to my right I heard a bit of a bang and then I could hear running. As it was running, it was smashing trees out of the way. I don't know if they were breaking or if it was hitting them. You couldn't see what the bush was like because it was so thick. The creature, John explained, then started roaring. I never heard anything like it in my life, he said. It would roar and then it would take a breath in, but then the breath it was taking was actually louder than the roar it was doing. John claimed that he heard the creature roaring while he ran off. Scrambling to get out of the water and chucking his haul back in, John claimed this creature just went to another level and it was crazy. He added, I could hear in my head something saying, go now or you'll die. It wasn't my own voice, my own consciousness, it was something else. That 10 minutes was probably the longest in my whole life. I thought I was going to be killed. I had no weapons, didn't even have my fishing knife, no phone service. Eventually, John was able to escape in his car and now claimed that he is sharing this story to protect others. He continued, I'd heard about it, the dog man, and thought it was a joke. But actually, I've had encounters with it now, and it's terrifying. I wouldn't be putting myself out showing these photos if it was a fake, or I didn't know there was actually something there. That's the main reason I came forward. I'm worried that someone's going to go missing or get hurt. And I'll have it in the back of my mind that I should have told someone about that. So, what is it? You can see what appear to be ears right here. And maybe the snout. Hard to discern, it really is. It's hard to tell. It's a bit blurry, so it's really hard to tell details from it. It is interesting, though. Finally, could it be a Bigfoot grave? There has long been questions about why Bigfoot bones have not been found, but if we actually look into it, we see that there has been numerous bones and skeletons found over the years. Were they of a Bigfoot? We really may not know for sure, but some might have been. Some remains just seem to disappear or go unaccounted for. We never hear any more about them. One of the reasons why we may not find Bigfoot bones often is that they bury their dead. I talk about this at great lengths in my book, Understanding Bigfoot, Helpful Information and Answers to Common Questions. There are several very credible researchers I spoke with on the subject. There are other factors in play as well, which are also discussed in the book. Sometimes I find odd grave-like mounds in the mountains, but I rarely ever talk or post about it. But today I just wanted to share a little bit about it. As I said, there has been times out hiking, exploring, or conducting Bigfoot research that I have found or came across what appears to be a grave of some sort. Many years ago we came across one while logging way back in the head of a hollow. We didn't take pictures and of course didn't disturb it. My question would be, why? Why didn't you disturb it? If there's a dead Bigfoot buried there, it's not going to bother you. This was many years ago, but over the last 8-10 years, I have found similar humps of dirt in places that are in the middle of nowhere. This photograph shows a large mound of dirt and rocks. It is also the one used at the top of the post. There are actually two of these that are probably 30 to 40 feet apart. This is in an area where I have had several Bigfoot encounters and found many tracks. Now, of course, I have no idea if these are really graves or just odd humps of dirt in the ground. It could be nothing more than a natural formation of something a person did a long time ago. I have not and would not dig into them, but I'm confident that Bigfoot does bury its dead. Again, why? Why didn't you dig into them? You should have dug into them. I will now post another picture that comes from another location and talk a little about it. This hump of dirt resembles a grave more than any of the other ones I have found. The picture is rather bad on this one, as I had been out for several hours and my phone was dead. I was able to power it up and take one picture. The phone only had like 3% power, so it cut right back off. What is interesting about this is that there is an almost identical mound very nearby, I would say within 25 feet. These are on the side of a pretty steep mountainside. Of course, another interesting factor is that while these resemble graves, they are much larger than a human grave. They, for the most part, are much wider and longer than a human grave. Plus, these and others I have found have been located basically in the middle of nowhere. I would not think these to be the graves of humans due to the locations and sizes. In the end, I do not know if these are Bigfoot graves, a natural formation or something else. I do know I have found them in several different areas. Let me stress again, I'm not claiming these as anything, just sharing and looking for answers. The reason many of us do not share these types of things or give exact details is that we know old Joe Blow would want to go dig it up. And I say, if a possible unknown grave was to be dug into and the remains exhumed, it would need to be done by experts with the proper authority. You would want to preserve all that you could of the remains. If any other Bigfoot researchers have encountered or found these types of grave-looking mounds in the forest, let me know. Have a good day. I don't know. Sometimes a mound in the woods is just a mound in the woods. I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that these could be Bigfoot graves. I don't think Bigfoot is that obvious. I mean, yeah, these mounds are found in the middle of nowhere, but that doesn't mean anything. They could just be mysterious mounds, not necessarily Sasquatch graves. But if you dig them up, you might actually find some answers. I mean, it's just common sense. Dig it up. Don't leave it to chance. Don't give the excuse, oh, well, we have to have experts to come in. You can get the experts to look at the bones afterwards. I mean, you could have the discovery of the century right there. If indeed they are Sasquatch graves. And that's an awful big if. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in this week, and we will promise to do better next week. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show. You guys are the heart of the show. I always say that, but I always mean it. And I'll continue to do this as long as you guys want me to. And hey, until next week, y'all be good or be good at this. May-HBM's Crypto-Corner.